Well, good morning. It's Don Airy here again with some real news. This one again is something I found on the Bangor Daily News. And I believe this one was written, let me check. I got to double check. This one was from 2014, August 1st. So this is a story from a few years ago. But it's full of facts. This one was really interesting. It's a factual story. It was written by a fellow who's, what do they call a man who is a birder. Is that an ornithologist? I can't remember the actual technical name of a man who studies birds, but that's what this man does. And he wrote an article. It's called "Some Maine Birds Have Some Weird Parenting Techniques." And well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert some of the comments of my own, because some of the weird parenting techniques that the birds have are, well, they're quite analogous to some of the weird parenting techniques that some of us human beings have. So it's gonna be quite obvious when I insert some of my own comments into the article, so you'll understand quite readily what I'm doing. It's by Robert Duché. It was actually published by, it was published September 18th in 2019. So I made a mistake on that one. And it was updated September 18th at 4:49. So I guess there must have been some typos or something, and it was just updated a few minutes later. And here's what he says. I've seen a lot of weird parenting lately, not just at Walmart. Many Maine birds have an odd way of raising kids. The majority of birds stick to the traditional model, two parents raising the family together. The parents may be mated for life or just for the season, but they are committed until the young are on their own. Ain't that a good thing? That's the way we ought to be. That's not to say that they are strictly monogamous, sort of like people. Many species are known to fool around. I won't say anything about that. However, there are a bunch of birds that do things differently. Think about any bird that looks like a chicken. This group includes barnyard fowl, grouse, turkeys, pheasants, and quail. In almost every case, males mate by occupying a territory and copulating with as many females as possible. After the deed is done, the father's responsibility ends. The mother is on her own to raise the brood. Now, here's my comment. It's an interesting comment of my own. To me, this sounds a lot like the ancient traditions of the Middle Eastern sheiks. It really does, like the harems. Or it may be some of the ways that the current drug gangsters operate. Well, anyway, back to the story. The writer goes on. He says, I can find only one exception to this rule of birds that look like chickens. The willow ptarmigan. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Ptarmigan. Ptarmigan. This grouse-like bird of northern Canada establishes a monogamous bond, and both genders raise the chicks while defending territory. In some instances, a particularly virile male may have two wives, and he vigorously protects both nests. He asks, is it worth it? And again, inserting a thought or two of my own, this mirrors human activity of a man who's got he's a secret bigamist. He's might be a traveling salesman, and he's got a wife down there in Virginia, and he's got a wife up here in Maine, and he doesn't let one know about the other one. Or maybe it's similar to that sort of activity that goes on up there in the state of Utah. Not sure. But again, back to the story. Most ducks form a pair bond that lasts only through courtship. Now, that sounds like a lot of teenagers, doesn't it? Rather than defend a territory, males defend mates, warding off the romantic advances of other males until the eggs are laid. But before the first egg hatches, Dad leaves. Pity. To help guard their large broods, some ducks form crutches. Not crutches, Creches, Creches. That means a group. They form creches, bringing together 2 or more families under the watchful eye of multiple moms and helpful aunts. And my comment is, I guess that ducks follow the super-duper daycare center model. Well, geese partners are much more apt to stay together. Some, including Canada geese, mate for life. Both partners nurture the young. Now, just ain't that something? Geese act a lot like conservative Christians wish that a lot of other conservative Christians actually acted. I'll read that again. Geese act like a lot of conservative Christians wish that a lot of other conservative Christians actually acted. Mate for life, take care of the young. Yeah. Well, we're going on. Male hummingbirds are deadbeat dads. They play no role in raising the family. In fact, if he ventures near, the female is apt to chase him away. This is what I say. Can't think of any human who acts that way, can you? Well, sorry to tell you, but some members of my own extended family act exactly this way. I won't mention their names, but they know who they are. Atlantic puffins and their relatives demonstrate unusual parenting behavior. 4 members of their family nest in Maine, and all are devoted parents. All 4 together. Right up until the chick leaves the nest. In case of the puffins, the single chick leaves its burrow at night, walks to the ocean alone, swims away unattended by either parent. It won't touch land for another 4 years. Atlantic puffins have a pure marijuana-smoking hippie culture going on for themselves. That's what I think. Razorbills also lay just 1 egg per year. When the chick is ready to go out to sea, it's Dad who leads the way and feeds the youngster. Mom stays behind for another week or so, recovering her strength, and then she's done. Now that sounds a lot like an 80s movie I saw starring Michael Keaton. I'll leave you guess about that one. Razorbills also lay just 1 egg per year. When the chick is ready to go out to sea, it's Dad who leads the way and feeds the youngster. Mom stays behind for another week or so, recovering her strength, until she's done. I just said that. I just read the same paragraph over again and made sure you got it. No, I didn't. I made a mistake. So, sue me. Okay. The common Murre, that's M-U-R-R-E, the common Murre father also leads the chick to seed, continues to tend it without help from Mom. However, this chick's departure from the nest can be dramatic. Murres nest on open ledges, laying a pointed egg that won't roll off the cliff. When the flightless chick is ready to go to sea, it hurls off the precipice, gliding and bouncing off the rocks all the way to the water. Now, there's a lot of fathers who taught their children to learn to swim this way. I understand some of them actually survived. The others grew up, talked to their psychologists, and then they talked to their lawyers. Unlike his cousins, the black guillemot, I think I'm pronouncing that right, might lay 2 eggs. Both parents care for the chicks right up until they fledge. That means, they get ready to fly. Once at sea, the youngsters can feed themselves and are totally on their own. Now, I can't find a single thing wrong with this family model. Actually, it sounds pretty darn near perfect to me. Now, house wrens are petite. They're the size of your thumb, little tiny birds. Nonetheless, they have one of the largest breeding ranges in the Western Hemisphere, from Bangor backyards all the way to South America. Why? Maybe because this tiny little bird is mean. The male house wren builds several nests, hoping to entice a female into choosing one. The pair mate for only 1 season. Even after the eggs are laid, the male may compete for a second female. About half the time, he defeats his rival, destroys any eggs from that brood, and starts again with a second wife while still defending the first. House wrens will even disrupt and destroy the nests of other species nearby just to guarantee themselves control of the local food resources. They are bold around people and have been known to nest in flower pots and on porches. Yeah, I'd say house wrens are the mafia bosses of the bird world. On the other hand, barn swallows believe in cooperation. Not only do both parents build the nest, incubate the eggs, and feed the nestlings, but they often get help from other barn swallows in the barn as well. These surrogate aunts and uncles may take turn in keeping the eggs warm. And my comment about that, I think barn swallows are obviously the Amish folk of the bird world. That's the way they behave. Then there are spotted sandpipers, which are often seen flitting along Maine's coasts, rivers, and lakeside edges. The female lays her eggs and then leaves. The father incubates the eggs and raises his family alone. There appears to be more than one species of bird that's a Mr. Mom. Whoops, I gave away that Michael Keaton hint. It all makes those dysfunctional families on television sitcoms seem normal, doesn't it? Now, this is from the Bangor Daily News, and it's copyrighted, and so I'm going to cite it in the comments of this article. And now you know more about Maine birds than you ever knew before in your whole life, and you know that they behave a lot like a lot of us humans, and they're just about as bird-brained as we are.